Good morning, dear students. In previous class, we were discussed about enrichment of ores, afterwards extraction of metals of low reactivity series, afterwards extraction of metals of medium reactivity series, and what is meant by thermite reaction and uses of thermite process. Today, let us see how the extraction of metals of high reactivity series takes place. Yes, my dear students, the metallic compounds at the top of the reactive series cannot be reduced by carbon or any other reducing agent due to their high affinity with water. Therefore, electrolytic reduction is employed for metals like sodium, magnesium and calcium, etc. Yes, my dear students, it means what is mean by electrolytic reduction? Electrolytic reduction. Extraction of metals takes place with the help of water. Electrolytic reduction. Yes, the salts of these metals like chlorides in molten form are electrolyzed. Metal is deposited at the cathode, it means the negative electrode, and chlorine is liberated at the anode, it means the positive electrode. Yes, my dear students, the salts of these metals like chlorides in molten form are electrolyzed. Metal is deposited at the cathode. It means a negative electrode, and chlorine is liberated, not deposited, liberated at the anode. It means the positive electrode. Yes, my dear students, the reactions are as follows. At cathode Na plus plus E minus can give rise to water reduction, Na reduction. Yes, the same way at anode 2Cl minus can use rise to water Cl2 plus 2E minus. It means the process of oxidation takes place. Yes, my dear students, the same process similarly takes place where in an aluminum. Aluminum is obtained by electrolytic reduction of molten aluminum oxide, also called as water alumina. Yes, let us see how the process of refining of metal takes place. refining of metals. It is the process of purification of metal often after reduction. Various methods for refining are employed, but the most common one is electrolytic refining. Yes, my dear students, which method is used here? Electrolytic refining. Most commonly used what? Electrolytic refining. Electrolytic refining process. Here many metals like copper, zinc, Ag, Au, etc. are refined electrolytically process. In this process, a thick block of impure metal is used as anode and thin strip of pure metal is used as cathode. Yes, my dear students, here thick block of impure metal is used as what? Anode, and thin strip of pure metal is used as cathode. A solution of metal salt is used as an electrolyte. When electric current is passed, metal ions from the electrolyte are reduced as metal which get deposited on the cathode. Yes, and equivalent amount of pure metal from the anode get oxidized to metal ion and goes into electrolyte and form there is goes to cathode and deposit. Yes, my dear students, what is used here? First of all, a thick block of impure metal is used as anode. A thin strip of pure metal is used as cathode. Yes, afterwards a solution of metal salt, it means to be refined, is used as an electrolyte, Yes, afterward, when electric current is passed, metal ions from the electrolyte are reduced as which get deposited on the cathode. Finally, an equivalent amount of pure metal from the anode get oxidized to metal ion and goes into the electrolyte and from there it goes to cathode and deposit. Yes, my dear students, in this type the process takes place here. Let us see diagram of electrolytic process. Acidified copper sulfate solution. It is in tank. Impurity, it means anode mud. Cu. Yes, my dear students, let us see once again. A thick block of impure metal is used as here anode, thin strip of pure metal is used as a cathode. A solution of metal salt, it means here solution, which solution is used? Acidified copper sulfate solution is used as a electrolyte. When electric current is passed, metal ions from the electrolyte are reduced, as which get deposited on the cathode. Which side? In and cathode side. Yes. Afterwards, an equivalent amount of pure metal from the anode get oxidized to metal ion and goes into electrolyte. From there goes into where? Cathode and deposit. Yes, in this type the process of electrolytic takes place, or electrolytic process. This cycle repeated until whole of the metal ion from impure block is dissolved and deposited on cathode. The soluble impurities go into the solution, whereas the insoluble impurities settle down below anode and are known as anode mud. Yes, my dear students, impurities are get deposited where? In and bottom of a tank. They are termed as what? Anode mud. Example, in electrolytic refining of crude copper, here anode is impure copper, whereas cathode is a strip of pure copper. The electrolyte is a solution of acidified copper sulfate. On passing electric current, pure copper is deposited on the cathode. Yes, pure copper is very deposited, my students, deposited on in an cathode side. This is the process of electrolytic refining. Yes, let us see what is mean by corrosion. What is mean by corrosion? Yes, already we all are discussed. Yes, the process of rusting as well as process of corrosion in our previous class. Previous class as well as previous chapter. Let us see what is meant by corrosion. It is a slow process of eating away of metal by the reaction of atmospheric air and moisture. Yes, my dear students, it is the slow process of eating away of metals by the reaction of atmospheric air or moisture is termed as what? The process of corrosion. Yes, my dear students, here some prevention measures of corrosions are also there. Prevention of corrosion. Yes, rusting of iron is prevented by galvanizing, by making alloy, painting, greasing or oiling, and tin plating and chrome plating, which are explained below. Yes, my dear students, first the process of what? The galvanization. Prevention method is used here. Galvanization. First prevention method is galvanization. The process of coating iron and steel object with a thin layer of zinc is called galvanization. Yes, what is meant by galvanization? The process of coating iron and steel object with thin layer of zinc. The process of coating of thin layer of zinc is termed as what? The process of galvanization. It is done by dipping the object in molten zinc. The galvanized article is protected against rusting even if the zinc coating is broken. Yes, let us see second process, alloying. It is the method of improving the properties of a metal by mixing the metal with another metal or non-metal. Yes, my dear students, how it takes place? Mixing the metal with other metal or non-metal. The process is termed as what? Alloying. Yes, third one is greasing or oiling. When grease or oil is applied to the surface of an iron object, the air and moisture cannot come and in contact with it, and hence rust is prevented. Yes, my dear students, I think all of you already know about what how the process of greasing as well as oiling takes place where in an automobile vehicles. Yes, that is also one of the prevention method of corrosion. And last one is tin plating or chromium plating. Tin or chromium plating. Yes, my dear students, tin and chromium metal are resistant to corrosion. So, when a thin layer of tin metal is deposited on iron object by electroplating, then iron and steel object are protected from rust. Yes, my dear students, it means coating tin as well as chromium. What layers are coated on the surface of what? Iron as well as steel. That is nothing but what? Tin coating as well as chromium plating. Let us see last point. Our last discussion point, alloys. Yes. An alloy is a homogeneous mixture of two or more metals or metal and non-metal. It is prepared by mixing the metal in molten form and then cooling the mixture. Yes, my dear students. What is meant by alloy? Yes, let us see the definition of alloy. Alloy is a homogeneous mixture of two or more metals or a metal and a non-metal, metal and a non-metal. It is prepared by mixing the metal in molten form and then cooling the mixture. Yes, the electrical conductivity and melting point of an alloy is less than that of what a pure metal. Yes, my dear students, it means electrolytic conductance as well as melting point is less than that of what a metals. Solder, an alloy of lead and tin, has a low melting point and is used for welding electrical wires together. If an alloy contains mercury as one of its component, it is called amalgam. Example: sodium mercury amalgam and sodium mercury silver mercury amalgam, etc. Yes, my dear students, in this chapter we all are discussed about introductory part of metals and non-metals and what is meant by metal, physical properties of metal and chemical properties of metal and non-metals. Before non-metals, reactivity series of metals, non-metal physical properties and non-metal chemical properties. Afterwards, reaction between metals and non-metals, it means ionic bond formation. Afterwards, electrovalent bond formation and properties of ionic compounds. Afterwards, occurrence of metals, it means extraction of metal. Next, enrichment of ores, extraction of metal of low reactivity series. Afterwards, extraction of metals of medium reactivity series. Afterwards, extraction of metals of high reactivity series, and finally corrosion, prevention of corrosion and what is meant by alloy and uses of alloy.